right, here we are again, another Comic-Con evening of Comic-Con at home. I'm just kind of doing these impromptu things every so often. So I thought, I did one last night for preview night, I do one tonight, and recording them here. Tonight I'm doing Instagram and YouTube. Last night I did Instagram and Facebook, so so yeah, let's see. Comic-Con Thursday, which is officially day one, the first full day. Oh, someone said thanks for the panel. Congratulations on the panel. Thank you. I was very proud of that. I was glad we got to do it again this year. I submitted 2 different panels. Here's a little behind the scenes dish. I submitted 2 panels this year, the one that you saw, and then I submitted another one where I was just going to talk to presidents and CEO of toy companies, and they didn't pick that one. They've given me 2 panels. They even give me 3 panels one year, but this year they only picked the one. But I was kind of looking forward to that other one. I was hoping that maybe at some point I could have done that, but they didn't pick it. So, but maybe I'll still do it on my own someday. I mean, we're all still at home. We all have Zoom, so maybe I'll just do that one all by myself. And I think there was another panel that was also today that was kind of about independent toys, which is a second panel that I've pitched for, I think 3 years, and they've never picked that as a second panel either. So I was glad to see someone else got to do it today too. So get those names and stuff out there. So I thought that was fun. The Mattel had a couple of panels today. First of all, there was the Mega Bloks panel that was focusing on their Halo product. It was only like 6.5 minutes. I was surprised Comic-Con let them do one that short. Sort of explaining some of the new stuff that was coming out, as well as announcing their Comic-Con exclusive, which ironically by the time it was announced, it had already gone up on that new Mattel Creations Instagram and website and sold out already. So as they were making the announcement, and I know we all had to record these things a month ago, so we didn't know exactly how all this timing would work and stuff. So, but that's something else I want to kind of touch base on today. We'll get back to some of the panel stuff too. There's been a lot of chatter. There's a lot of frustrated people, and I get that. We're frustrated because we're at home. We're frustrated because we're, wherever you live, depending, we're not really supposed to be going to the stores. And there's been some problems with the exclusive sales places. And I know NECA's taking a lot of heat right now because they've had a couple of sales through Target already that have not gone particularly well, and people are really putting NECA on blast for that. And I really feel as if your anger is misplaced in that, because if it were up to NECA, yeah, they'd make one for every person and get it right out to you. But these things, specifically what we saw today, like the Comic-Con exclusive, these were put into manufacture, and the process started like 18 months ago. So the quantities they set for that were for Comic-Con, which has 200,000 people that go through those doors every year, and not every one of them loves Ninja Turtles or Gremlins or Alien or Predator. So they kind of make it as what they think their numbers should be, but still trying to keep it like a kind of a chase thing, because Comic-Con exclusives are special. And look, it's a drag. Like I'll say up front, I don't have any of them currently. I missed out on all of them too. I did not get a free set of them. So and I would have liked to have had that Ninja Turtle set and have that Gremlin in my Gremlin set. And I thought that glow-in-the-dark alien was pretty cool. And hot take, I actually like Predator 2 more than I like the first Predator. So I know I'll probably get some hate mail about that, but it's true. You can't stop me. So yeah. So anyway, NECA had to find a way. Everyone's in kind of this bind because Comic-Con waited a very long time to announce whether they were going to have Comic-Con or not. So it was kind of this waiting game to see what was going to happen. And so really these companies, all of them, had about 3 months to scramble to figure out how they are going to sell these, and if they are going to sell these. I noticed, like Hasbro has pushed their stuff off to September. And I don't know that that's necessarily, you know, I would love to think it's because they caught wind early enough and tacked some stuff on in manufacture and made bigger quantities, but I don't know if that's true. Typically, Hasbro does sell their stuff after Comic-Con, right around the end of August or September, so it might just be that. I mean, I'm holding out hope that they were able to catch it, because it kind of, depending on where this fell right before all the factories closed, and if they were to get stuff on boats before Chinese New Year and that shut down, just kind of, there were a lot of moving targets because of coronavirus at that time, because everyone was rushing to try and get through Chinese New Year, and then they didn't end up coming back from that on time, and then there was a real struggle to get people out of Wuhan, which is kind of in central China, back out to the coasts where most of the factories are. And so a lot of factories were not getting their full complement of workers, and there were factories stealing, poaching people from other factories and stuff. I mean, it's really bonkers time. So there's a lot of stuff at play. So some companies, you know, decided, look, we'll still try and put some stuff out at Comic-Con. We'll figure out where we can sell it through. Some companies said, all right, we're just going to hold this thing and put it into the main line somehow. You know, some people are just going to hold on to it and see if there's going to be another convention down the line. We don't know when conventions are coming back. You know, right now, none of us think, I don't think it's been called yet, but New York Comic-Con would kind of be the next one, and I don't suspect we're going to have that either. So, but you know, if they don't sell them, then they have to pay to store them somewhere, because just kind of how manufacturing works. The regular stuff that we get in the stores, you know, kind of the regular main lines, those come over in a big ship with giant storage containers, and they take, you know, 2 months or 2 weeks to a month, and they have to clear customs and all this. But with Comic-Con exclusives, typically, because the window's so short, a lot of them will fly them and drop ship them over here. And so when it looked like we weren't going to have Comic-Con necessarily, a lot of people didn't go ahead and fly them over. They just said, well, put them on the slow boat. That's fine. We don't need to pay extra if we're not going to have, you know, have to have them there in time for Comic-Con. So, so there's a lot of that stuff at play. So, you know, NECA had to kind of scramble and go to Target. I've got something on my shirt. I apologize. I'm grooming myself while I'm speaking. You know, they went to Target, who's been a good partner with them, and they went ahead. I'm scrolling through here because it stopped doing that. Do you think Masters of the Universe action figures are still selling? Because people watch it too. Yeah, I'll answer that in just a second after I finish this. So NECA had to go to Target, which is one of their partners, their retail partners, which has been great because, you know, Toys R Us went away and they were able to get stuff into Target and Toys R Us. And they said, hey, you know, we've got this thing, can you help us? You know, you've got this website already set up. But NECA is one of 10,000 vendors at Target. And they actually have kind of a weird, unique relationship with Target, whereby everything else you see at Target, you know, the clothes and all that sort of thing, and the other toys, Target buys from, you know, Mattel, Hasbro, Jazzwares, all that sort of thing, and then they pay to ship it to their distribution centers in the U.S. They send it where they want to go, then it mails out to, you know, the different stores and stuff. So NECA does a thing where they have reps that bring in the merch, or it's shipped there and they stock it. It's not stocked by regular Target employees. So NECA doesn't have like a lot of weight to throw around to say, hey, Target, you have to change your entire website and how you do things to accommodate the collectors of our product. Being angry at NECA in this, they're just trying to kind of find the best solution. And I was amazed that, you know, after the first one, there was a lot of trouble. They, you know, I know they had to be cheesed. They were facing a lot of heat, but they still went and said, hey, let's look at the back end. Let's see what the issue is. Is it really bots, as people keep saying? Is it just the fact that everybody's stuck at home right now and can get online? We don't know. So they went and so they put some stuff on the back end to try and monitor that and see if it really was bots. And it turns out they did see some activity of that. And I have heard rumor, I don't have this rooted in any fact at all, but you know, the fact that we're all shut down and there's not events happening, there's no sports, there's no concerts. So a lot of the ticket scalpers, professional ticket scalpers that have, you know, websites and actual like locations have kind of turned their direction at collectibles to try and make some money while everything's shut down. Rumor, I don't know if that's substantiated or not, but that is something that I heard that could, you know, it sounds like a reasonable possibility. You know, NECA tried to do some things on the back end to root through the bots and make sure that didn't happen. And, you know, they still had some problems with it because they weren't able to test it again before this all happened. So there were people that went through the whole system today, got their orders through, and then the system canceled it, saying that it thought they were bots. And yeah, I get it. That does stink. I'm sorry about that. But you know, they tried, which I appreciate. You know, again, they're all just trying to figure this out right now. You know, no one was ready for this. You know, it's kind of the same thing about, you know, the schools being shut down and people are being mad about that. And you know, the distance learning thing from the end of last year was like they had like 10 days to figure that all out. Everyone's just kind of scrambling, and in the meantime, with all this happening, they're still doing their same job. They are still working on product that you will be seeing in another 12 to 18 months. So none of that stops while they're trying to figure out like Comic-Con stuff. So instead of just being angry at Randy or, you know, Pixel Dan or, you know, Matt Cardona and stuff because they got free ones or stuff, like everyone's just trying to figure this out. Like NECA sent out those free ones to reviewers before any of this happened, before any of this stuff went up, before they knew the system, you know, wasn't going to work in the way that they hoped it was. So I know people are frustrated and they're looking to kind of point their anger at stuff, but point it at something that's important that maybe out there in the world we need to fix or something. And look, I get it. Like I said, I wanted those exclusives as much as anyone else. I do not have them. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Now, another panel that was today that was really cool was the Mattel WWE panel. It was chock full of reveals. Just kind of pound for pound, you know, it was Bill and Steven and a lot of like wrestling superstars showed up, and it was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it yet, it's available on the official Comic-Con website. Please go check that out, because I can't sit here and name all of them because it was just like about, you know, I don't know, every 4 minutes there was another reveal of a character or a wave or, you know, announcement that some line was coming back. So I thought that was great. There was another panel today, like I said, about the independent toy makers. I've only got to watch about half of that one so far, so I'll probably do that again in a bit. And then there was my panel. My panel was today at 4, so if you haven't got to see that yet, you can either go to Comic-Con and check it out, or you can watch it on my YouTube channel for AFI. Someone asked a question: what do you think about Big Jim Pack's 70s action figures? You know what? This is kind of a funny story. I like Big Jim. I don't own any Big Jim figures proper, but I probably have, I don't know, 10 to 12 of his outfits still on the card that I was able to get. So I just haven't made it a priority to get a Big Jim to go with those. But someday I would like to do that so I can put that with my Big Jim display collection right now. But right now I just have some of the deluxe costume packs and some of the slim ones too. So yeah, you know, I love old toys. I love that stuff. So what was the guy asking me earlier about Masters of the Universe? What did it say? This is exactly what's going on with Jax regarding SDCC. Oh, is it really? That's Tony. He would know. Does Jax have Comic-Con exclusives? I don't think I heard this year. Or maybe there was. Did I see was there a Nintendo thing that came out through Entertainment Earth? That's kind of the problem again. Like I talked about last night, if you were here, it's like everything's so, because nothing is centralized. Not everyone's using sort of the Comic-Con at home. People are having their own like cons and stuff, it's hard to sort of keep track of all the information at once. So let's see, what did that guy say about Masters of the Universe? Do you think Masters of the Universe action figures are still selling? That goes out to the people watching too. Yeah, I do think Masters of the Universe is still selling. You know, we've got, there's 2 Netflix series that are coming out. There's the Kevin Smith and then another one that we don't really have any other information except that there is one. I think those come out next year. You know, there was still the, I think they just finished season 5 of the She-Ra series on Netflix that I think was, I haven't watched all of it, but my youngest daughter really dug it. We've got the Masters of the Universe WWE crossover that's happening right now that's a Walmart exclusive. And coming very soon, they just announced today, I think 8/1 is when the Masters of the Universe Origins figures, which is the next line, will be hitting Walmart. I think it's one of those things where it hits Walmart first, then it goes wider later. But hey, exclusive here for you people watching, good news. Guess what I got today in a box? Right here, they'll show you just because you're watching. There we go, there's Masters of the Universe He-Man. Origins right there. Retro play. And here's the back of the card if you haven't seen that. Oh boy, that ring is looking not ideal for this sort of thing. There you go, how's that? So there's He-Man. Here's Skeletor. The bad guy, let's see. Any idea, what does that say? Okay, good. Do you have any idea where I can sell mine, or should I hold them a bit longer? I see. So that's what the background of this was. You're just looking to sell them. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. I know a buddy of mine's been. I mean, depending on I don't know which ones you have. I don't know if you have actual vintage ones. I don't know if you have the 2000X line. I don't know if you're trying to get rid of Master Universe Classics. But yeah, there's always a market for that. So I actually had a friend of mine from grad school write to me the other day on Facebook and was like, look, my 10-year-old just found He-Man and loves it. How do I get He-Man toys? But you know, like I have one of my buddies has been selling his Master Universe Classics on eBay right now, and he's been doing really well. So here's Skeletor, like I said. He's got kind of a groovy thing. Well, let's see. Open mouth for this this one. Battle Cat, right? Look at that guy. He's got some good articulation. Here's the back of the box. Shows a lot of the different characters that are coming. Heroic Warriors and Evil Warriors, and I love the artwork and stuff they're doing on these. So awesome. That's cool. And then they also sent me Prince Adam and the Sky Sled. Look at that. Look how big that is. It's a big set. Again, gorgeous artwork on it. Really very cool. I'll see some surprise faces. That was the same mold as Big Jim. I think you're probably talking about the Masters of the Universe stuff, like the animals and stuff were all Big Jim. And then I also they sent me a couple of these. These are those old Masters Eternium minis. They come in this awesome little Castle Grayskull that opens up here. Isn't that cool? Back of the castle. Right there. Hey, what do you say we open one of these up right now and see what we got? You want to do that? A little blind packaging unboxing. Let's see. It's the first one I've opened, so you guys are here for it. I have all those, but mine come in a big brown box with the names on it. Can you tell what type they are? Are you talking about these things? I don't know if there's a way. Sometimes they put codes on these things. They do show that you can hook these things together to make a big, like, Castle Grayskull. I'm gonna dismiss these alerts here. So, yeah, let's see who I got. We got to see these at Toy Fair. They announced these. And some of these are repaints that they did in a previous line. And then some are new. I think Bill Beneke was the one that designed these, my buddy. So I always like his designs. He also did those Action Masters, or those the DC ones. I love that line. All right, so let's see. Let's pop them open. Who do I get? All right. Oh, there's just one in here. Just one per thing. Looks like I started with Buzz Off. Buzz Off, yo. Isn't that fun? Look at that design. He's got a little, here, I'll take him out of the little bag. And he's got a weapon that's in here. This little thing. All right. Let's open Buzz Off and have a better look at him. Okay. Here we go. Look at that. Look at his big long arms, his little stubby legs. How cute is that? So get close here, you can kind of see him. Share it with these folks down here. Look at that guy. Buzz Off. Isn't that fun? I love these little guys. Collect a bunch of these. Some of them are going to be, you know, this is sort of the classic look for them, but, you know, there are some, excuse me, that are repaints. You know, kind of interesting repaints. Let me get his, let's see. Whoop, don't drop that. Ah, I say don't drop that as I drop it. It's stuck on here. Come on now. Put strange things in your mouth while there's a pandemic going on. I think that's anyone's best advice. Any medical expert will tell you that. Just randomly put things that you find in your mouth. All right, so here he is with his little weapon. He's got that little axe. Isn't that cool? I love it. All right. And then, there's a tiny little Masters of the Universe thing, and then on the back, it's got them fighting. Good guys, the bad guys. Kind of shows some of the different ones. This is certainly not the whole lineup. This is they showed more than these at Toy Fair. Maybe this is just wave one. Maybe there's 8 in wave one. They did send me 8 of them, so maybe I got one of each. I don't know. We'll see. We'll open them up later. But you got to see the very first one, so congratulations. Thank you for tuning in. What else did we see today? Super 7 announced some more of their exclusives today. They had their day of all Ninja Turtle stuff yesterday. Today they had some Peanut stuff. They had Spike, Snoopy's cousin, on a great card that looked like the cactus that he's always sitting under. They had a re-release of that giant, what they call it, like a life-size Snoopy, but he was in a little box that said, like, was it Spring Hill Puppy Farm that he came from? Am I saying that? My Peanuts trivia is a little rusty. Is it Spring? I can't remember where it is. It's the puppy farm that he came from. And then what else did they have? They had a really cool Back to the Future 2 Marty McFly reaction figure that looked like it came on a hoverboard card. That was gorgeous. Then they had Chet, the first reaction figure from Weird Science when he turned into that big monster, and this version was glow in the dark. It was pretty sweet. And then they had a couple of other shirts today. What were the shirts? Oh, there were 2 Snoopy shirts. There was one that was Spike that said Mood. That was pretty sweet. And then there was the one of Snoopy on the moon. I don't own a single one of Super 7's shirts, but I love so many of them. I just have so many shirts that if I brought more home, my wife would stab me in the neck in my sleep. So, but there's a lot of them that they make that I really do lust after. So maybe someday, once I rotate out my 600 other ones, I'll get new ones. And let's see, what else did I see that was new or news today out of Comic-Con? I guess there was a New Mutants trailer that they showed, a new Mutants trailer. That was a Fox movie that Disney, I guess, kind of bought and will release at some point. And then there was some other news. Oh yeah, there was news. There's a new Star Trek animated series that's going to be on Nickelodeon called Star Trek Prodigy. I'm interested in checking out that little project. I think it's really neat that Star Trek's finally kind of jumping on the bigger bandwagon, kind of like Star Wars has done, where they realize that there's going to be different kinds of fans and fandom, and they're making different kinds of stuff for all of them. Because normally Star Trek, how it runs, there's one series running at one time, and then that will go away. There's usually comic books and novels and stuff running, but I'm glad they're embracing, the fact that there's a lot of different Star Trek fans and fandoms out there, and that the world can support more different stories from them. And there's even like that that comedy series, Star Trek Lower Decks, also an animated thing that they're working on. So yeah, I think that's great. I really do. I fully support that. I'm trying to think what else I posted today about stuff. I don't know. One thing that's not Comic-Con related that I just think is so sweet that I haven't had time to sort of compile and put up on AFI yet. If you go to, if you're on the gram, as the kids like to say, the gram, no kids say that, and it drives my oldest daughter crazy when I say that. Check out toyotter.com. That's my friend Jason Geyer, who's actually the co-founder of Action Figure Insider. He has been doing some absolutely stunning digital customs, amazing sculpts based on the old Mattel Marvel Secret Wars line. He is doing some really random, obscure characters, but he's just been really knocking it out of the park with so many beautiful ones. And he's been posting like one a day for the past, I don't know, he's probably about 15 deep at least now. But what's funny is he's also gotten our friend Matt Colley, aka Iron Cow, so you can look up Toy Otter on Instagram or Iron Cow on Instagram. And Matt, aka Iron Cow, has been making physical Secret Wars customs also and posting some of those. So he's been using the blanks from the Fresh Monkey Fiction Amazing Heroes line, which is that line that kind of looks like Secret Wars, but uses a lot. It was using all public domain comic book characters, but now they've branched into more modern characters. And another shout out to Fresh Monkey Fiction. I think you can check them out, freshmonkeyfiction.com, and check them out at Fresh Monkey Fiction on all the socials. They just launched a campaign for wave 4 or 5 of their Amazing Heroes, and they've actually got some fun 80s characters in there, like the return of Mr. Monster, who is a classic character that was revived in the 80s, and then also like Mike Grell's Badger, which was an old first comic that I used to read in the 80s. And I forget who the other ones were in that wave. Those are the two that I was most excited about. So there's pre-orders up for that wave right now, and so they're fun comic book characters in that sort of classic Secret Warsy style. But in wave 1 of that Amazing Heroes, one of the things Bill made was a character called The Blank, which was basically just a white character with I think 2 different heads, and you could make a bunch of different ones. Were you on any virtual panels? I hosted a panel today for Comic-Con at Home. Yes, it was the Action Figure Insider 15th anniversary, 15 years of Talking Toys panel. It went up at 4 o'clock today on Comic-Con's YouTube, and it went up on 5 o'clock, 5:30 today on the Action Figure Insider YouTube thing. So in that panel, I got to speak to, it was a roundtable discussion. I had Randy Falk from NECA. I had Andrew Polmuter from president of Funko. I had Jeremy Padwar, who, he was at Mattel doing WWE. He was at Jax. He was at, he co-founded Wicked Cool, and now he's one of the partners over at Jazzwares. So he's one of the guys that were like bringing back micro machines and some other really cool stuff. Jim Fletcher was on there also from DC Directs, and who else was the other? Oh, Brian Flynn from Super 7 was on there too, and myself. So I was the moderator of that. I try and do, I've been doing, again, this is my 15th year of doing panels just for Action Figure Insider. I did some for another website that I wrote for before I started Action Figure Insider. So it's kind of a big deal. It's a lot of fun, and I always try and change up who's on my panels and stuff every year, and kind of change up the topics. So this is the first. Like Randy used to do my panels all the time. Randy from NECA, but then Randy, he had 2 young girls and stuff, so he would come into Comic-Con, set up the NECA booth. He'd stay like Wednesday night, Thursday, and then part of Friday, and then he'd fly out Friday and he was gone. And they'd usually put my panel like Friday evening, so he was never able to do my panels for the past, 7-8 years. So it was great, we're all at home. Randy, oddly enough, is still in the office. He's not, NECA never shut down because Jersey never closed, so he's still been going in there. Action Figure Times, yes, that's where I used to write for before I started AFI. So I got to have Randy back on the panel, so that was kind of a homecoming, which was fun. I think this is maybe the 2nd or 3rd time I've had Brian, 2nd time having Jeremy. Jim's been on many years, but Andrew from Funko, this is the first time I've ever had him on there, and he's someone I've known for many years, so that was really great to bring his perspective to it too. So we talked the first, I don't know, 20-25 minutes in the panel kind of about making toys in this new way of doing things and how that all works, and we kind of start reminiscing on other stuff and going on tangents and just having fun talking toys. I love that. I wish I could do that all the time. And I'm trying to put some other ones together that, since especially I live in California, I think you guys know that, so we're still on, encouraged to stay home, and it looks like stuff may be shutting down even more later because the coronavirus cases just keep skyrocketing. I think it was another 12,000 new cases reported today, so great job, California. So kind of putting together some more new content. I've had some good ideas that no one's done yet that I am looking forward to doing, so I think I'm going to put that together. How about you guys? Did you see anything cool out there in your Comic-Con watching or anything looking at today? Or have you found anything? Some of you I know are in states that are not locked down. Did you go out and try and find any of the NECA stuff in stores today or anything like that? I know some, and also I guess some of the Funko stuff landed. Funko was last night, and I know a lot of people had trouble with that too. And then I guess this morning, Mattel Stuff went on sale through their new system, that Mattel Creation site, and that stuff sold out. Everything sold out in I think under 10 minutes. Oddly enough, the first thing that sold out was the Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park. I thought that was kind of interesting that guy sold out. But yeah, all the Hot Wheels sold out, all the action figures sold out, and I don't think they did anything. Normally Mattel, some years they do like a Monster High, they do like a Barbie, like there's a ton of stuff. Let's see, this guy says, I'm in Colorado, couldn't find any stuff before work this morning. Yeah, I hear you. Big Daddy Kane says, I miss Toys R Us. Same, pour one out for Toys R Us. I definitely miss those guys. Walmart's McFarlane stuff sold out almost immediately. Oh, did they put the Roar 10 stuff up on Walmart's site? I guess I didn't hear they launched. I guess I did know they launched that, but I didn't know it went up on Walmart. Yeah, that stuff's kind of fun. I know some people started finding it or were sent samples already, and that Cygor is like 12 inches tall. He's a beast, a big boy. I think he's $10 more. So Mr. T sold out almost in seconds too. Yes, but the good news is they said there is more Mr. T coming in WWE in the main line. They actually showed a 2-pack of him in boxing gear with Rowdy Roddy Piper. And then there's also, they showed, this was leaked or announced a little while ago, I guess it just popped up on Walmart, the Wave 4 of the WWE Masters of the Universe crossover. There's a Mr. T in that. That went up on Walmart today too. And I was able to grab one of those Mr. T's because I think that's really funny. I actually have a custom that I bought off eBay, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And it had a clever name, and I can't think of what it was. It was like a play, I want to say it was based on B.A. Baracus. But basically someone took one of the old, I think it was LJN Mr. T figure heads and put it on clawful, and then painted the clawful, skin brown, but left his big red claw and his red boots and his red panties. And I bought that because it was like $5. No one else bid on it. I thought it was the funniest thing, and so that's in my collection. So yeah, I had that, so I want the other Masters of the Universe Mr. T to go with that weird clawful Mr. T figure. Lol, nice. That's from the Raw designer. So yeah, that was some of the other stuff that happened today. What I've noticed, I thought there was going to be more as far as some of the big companies doing kind of their Hall H stuff through Comic-Con at home, but it looks like everyone's big enough they're doing that all on their own now. So I know all the Amazon stuff is going to come out starting tomorrow on Amazon Prime. They're doing a series of panels the 23rd through the 25th. And then I heard the Marvel one, the big Marvel reveal panel, is going to be on Disney Plus actually. So I was a little surprised that they didn't go the exact Comic-Con route, but guess you want to keep your content and do it yourself. Maybe they couldn't get that stuff together by the deadline too, so they just kind of formed their own thing. So that'll be interesting to see. Looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen a lot more of that stuff. You know, because normally you think about, like, you know, there's always like a Doctor Who panel, and you know, there's still some stuff. I know like History Channel's doing like a Vikings thing, but you know, there's usually like Outlander, and you know, there's a ton of that stuff. You know, Warner Brothers always does a great big one, so we'll see. Let's see, what's Big Daddy says? I have the Best of the West Jed Gibson minted box going up in value. Oh, yeah, that's cool, Best of the West. I used to have some of those Best of the West guys as a kid. I feel like they might have been my older brothers, but that's a line I've always kind of wanted to get, you know, a couple of loose ones just to have in my collection again, because I remember those fondly as a kid, having those. Those are some of those toys that, you know, especially like as I got into, you know, Micronauts and Star Wars and stuff, that my parents packed up and sent to my grandma's house, so that I have toys at grandma's when I went over there and spent the night. So there was all these toys that I didn't normally get to visit and play with would be at grandma's, and then the stuff I played with all the time was at my house. So I don't know if you guys had any experience like that, but that's something I had. So yeah, I remember having a couple of those guys. I know we had at least like the blue cowboy and one of the horses and that sort of thing. The Jed is the hardest one to find. Oh, cool. That's really awesome. Yeah, finding all that stuff, you know, finding that classic stuff, especially in boxes, especially if you find it, you know, for a good price. My glasses are filthy, so excuse me while I clean them. That's always a lot of fun. And yeah, I remember I've had just a couple of those things in my, you know, I was driving through West Virginia in the 90s, I guess 96, 95, 96. And I stopped, I saw a place that had like a flea market, and I went to that, and I found a loose but just mint Shogun Warrior Godzilla, which, you know, I had as a kid, but I loved those Shogun Warriors, and I played with them until they broke down into their periodic elements. So, but I found this absolute mint one. It was $5, and I asked the guy, like, what's the deal with this thing? Doesn't even, it looks like it just came out of the box. And he said, oh yeah, I bought that for my grandkid, and he was always afraid of it, never touched it, so just trying to get rid of it. I was like, I'll take it off your hands. And I also found a Major Matt Mason Callisto, you know, the green-headed alien. Did you happen to see the Chicken Fried Toys panel? That's the one I saw half of. That's the indie toys one that I was talking about earlier today. You might not have been in here for that. So yeah, I saw about half of that one, but I didn't get to see all of that. Let's see. Use the same before the computer. Used to do the same before the computer era. Yeah. It's so late. It is late. So you want to make an action figure? Yeah, that was the one that I got to watch about half of that one, and then I started it late, and then it was time for my panel, so I wanted to make sure they put my panel up on time. So I switched over and watched that. So yes, I did get to see part of that. I know a lot of those folks. So yeah, I thought that what I saw so far I really liked, and I plan on going back later this evening and watching the rest of it. Tomorrow there's a couple of Mattel panels. I think there's a Hot Wheels panel, and there is the Mattel Creations panel, which I think they're going to cover a lot of their licensed property stuff. And it's one of the Richard, the president of Mattel, actually is on that. He's never been on one of the panels before. Do you make customs? Eli Customs asks. I used to make a lot of customs before my children were born. Yeah, I had a whole setup out in the garage where I made customs. And I had a big project where I love the Kenner Batman animated series line, so I had it in my head that I was going to make every figure from the Kenner Superpowers line in the DC animated style. And I got pretty close. I think, you know, I was shy by about 10 or so. But one of the cool things is a lot of my friends knew about this project. I was in I don't know how far back you guys go, but like in the days of Raving Toy Maniac and that stuff, some of the early collector websites, there was a thing called Custom Con, and they did it like twice a year, and they would showcase things. So I had a couple of showcases in Custom Cons of my stuff. Are boosters still sold for Hot Wheels? I can't seem to find them in stores. what are the boosters? I'm not a Hot Wheels collector guy, which I have some Hot Wheels, but I don't know all the ins and outs. I know about like treasure hunts and stuff like that, but I don't know what the boosters are, so I can't answer that. There's 22 points of articulation overkill. That's from Cortez Mega. That is kind of a personal preference, really. I think it kind of depends on the size of the action figure. Like if it's a 3 3/4 inch figure that you're trying to make in an animated style, maybe that breaks it up too much. But if it's like a 6 7 inch figure, maybe that's not too bad. I personally like articulation, but I know some people would rather have sort of the line and the style of the figure and character over articulation, because face it, a lot of collectors don't play with their toys. You open them up and you put them on a shelf. They just kind of stand there behind you, and you don't mess with them. So you don't have to pose them. So yeah, it's really just kind of personal preference and that sort of thing. But I don't think 22 is excessive. And what's that? That Sentinel's got like 48 points or something, because he's got like all his fingers and toes and nostrils and stuff. Is Shocker Toys still around with their shoulder monkey figures? I think you mean their shoulder mounted figures. The Shocker Toys Jeff Beckett's certainly still around. I think he might be on his 5th or 6th shell company by now. But yeah, I don't think his shoulder mounted things ever came to light. It's funny, I was cleaning out one of my storage units last year, and I came across one of his early brochures for that shoulder mounted thing. And I'm sure he's furious now, because Disneyland and the Disney parks have really embraced that shoulder mounted figure thing, where they've got like a little Groot that'll sit magnetically on your shoulder, or a Salacious Crumb, or what was the new one they just did? They did like a Porg, and some of those, and you could some of them you can control them from a little thing. So I'm sure he's firing up the fake lawyer that he would threaten us all with to go after Disney now. Let's see, battery operated spinners that propel the cars along the track. Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think there is still some of that stuff. What did I see yesterday? There was a new set that I think is kind of one of their big holiday sets that kind of shoots 2 cars through a big loop. I think that's got one of that. And if I'm not mistaken, the Mario Kart stuff might have a little bit of that stuff that they're doing right now, which is gorgeous. I love that stuff. Thoughts on the new 6-inch G.I. Joe designs? So here's the thing. I was never a huge Joe guy. I never collected them as a kid. Several of my friends had them. I always thought they were beautiful. I was always envious of how many ships and all sorts of things came out. I read some of the comics, watched some of the animated series, but I'm not like a hardcore Joe guy. But it's always tricky, because you don't want something to be sort of frozen in time, where you're shutting out newer collectors. So if you gotta fudge the classic designs a little bit to make them look a little more Fortnite-y, is that the worst thing in the world? No. I think they did it in such a way that you can probably remove some of the kibble and make them look more classic, and we might see them come out as repaints. But I understand people that would want that. I mean, there's many generations of people that have been waiting for those 80s figures to be turned into 6-inch figures, and now it's finally happening. I think we will probably see. I think they want to kind of launch the line, get it in the hands of collectors and kids. Most importantly, kids, get it reestablished as a brand, and then I think we'll start to see more sort of classic-y stuff coming. I don't think that's off the table or something. So just stand by. I don't know what Fortnite is. Fortnite is the one of the most popular video games right now. It's a giant open world shoot 'em game with squintillion characters in it right now. So let's see, what do we see here? What are we asking here? I'm sure you met Stan Lee. Do you collect comics or have X-Men #1? I have met Stan a couple of times, actually, both as a fan and professionally. Excuse me, that was my chair. That was my spine. Yeah, I did meet Stan. He was always very nice. Yeah, the first time I ever met him was I got to do the red carpet press line for Comic-Con the movie, and got to interview Stan. And there were thousands upon thousands of people. He was trying to get into the theater because he was a producer on it and in it in a big part. But when he stopped in front of me, just like everyone else in the line, he gave me his undivided attention, like I was the only person there, and I'll always be grateful to Stan for doing that. But I worked for Digital Domain for at the time, the visual effects company, and they were working on a deal with Stan because they were scanning him for a lot of his Marvel cameo things. So I got to be in a room with Stan, I don't know, about every week after that. So. Let's see what else we have here. Do I have X-Men #1? I don't have the original X-Men. No. Do I have that Jim Lee one that they made 5 million copies of? Yes, I do. But not the original one. Let's see here. Do you think the 1/18 scale is in jeopardy of being discontinued? No, I don't. And I guess it kind of depends on which line you're talking about, but. I know it's still on kind of life support for Star Wars, but I think we're still seeing really cool 3 3/4 inch stuff. Like Super 7's doing a ton, and it's awesome. It looks great. Mezco is stepping into it now with their 5-point stuff. So no, I don't think we're going to lose that scale because it works so well with like vehicles and stuff. If you have like a very toyetic line with vehicles and stuff, you want your figures to be smaller so you can make that sort of thing. So I don't think it's going to be there. Hey, Harv's here. Hey, Harv, you have a panel I saw. Is it Saturday or Sunday? You've got one for your Crossing Swords TV show. I just saw. I think it was a late edition. I think I read. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So it's on Hulu. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. It's very funny. Let me just plug people. Has anyone already asked your thoughts of the recent McFarlane figures? That was something else that was real today that we can talk about real quick. I've been doing this for 47 minutes. So yeah, McFarlane announced some other figures today in their DC line. Some of the Mattel stuff, some of the Joker Who Laughs, like his little Robin minions. There's a Flash 2-pack. A 2-pack with Nightwing and Red Hood. There's an Arkham Asylum 2-pack with Batman and Deadpool, Deathstroke. So the McFarlane thing. Yeah. At first I was like, I didn't feel like he was really swinging for the fences on the first wave necessarily. It seemed kind of a weird mishmash. This stuff does feel more like this is what you want. If Todd McFarlane's going to have a license, this is what you're going to want. I get people are saying there's a lot of Batman in the line and stuff. Yeah, there are, because Batman sells a ton. But yeah, these figures are starting to feel more Todd-like. And if they're not your bag, that's fine. I know DC Direct is still putting some stuff out. They've got their Essentials line and some stuff like that. And there'll be other DC figures. Like, they just announced, Mayfex announced a really sweet animated Batman figure. It's like $100, but boy, it looks lovely. So, I don't begrudge Todd for being Todd. Like, that's, I sort of felt like I didn't see Todd anywhere in that first wave, and now you look at this stuff and you go, okay, well, there's Todd doing kind of Toddy things, and that's not something we really got in that DC style before. So if Todd's going to do it, have Todd put his spin on it. So I'm fine with that. Let's see, for Hasbro primarily. Oh, you're talking about 3 3/4 inch going away. Let's see, what is my favorite statue? Oh, look at that. What is my favorite statue? Boy, that is a good question. I have really always dug. It was. This will date me and tell you how old I am now. Before DC Direct existed, they still made a couple of products, and they made a really sweet Swamp Thing statue, where he had his two hands were like big clumps of roses. I think it was like a Stephen Bissett cover kind of design. I really like that thing. I still have it. I got it early, when it came out. That's when I was in college. I probably put it on a credit card that I'm still paying off because I had no money as a college student. But yeah, I always liked that. I also have. I'm a big Neil Gaiman Sandman fan, and they came out with a set of like bookends of Sandman and Daniel. If you don't know the series, you're going to be like, I don't know who that is. But I always think those are really gorgeous. So yeah, there's a lot of cool statues out there. I just, finding the room for that sort of thing is like, oof. I do have some Aquaman statues up here. I still get the Aquaman and stuff. So let's see. What else? He's a legend. I hate Fortnite. Oh, Friday. So the panel for Crossing Swords is Friday, 5 p.m. on the Comic-Con channel. So check it out. Let's see. Mayfix is putting out a ton of great stuff lately. Yeah. Hush Figures. Yeah, they're doing that. Big Daddy Kane's peacing out. Thanks for hanging. X-Men or Avengers? Boo. Easy, Grandpa. Yes. I think you're as old as I am. I've met you in person. Well, we didn't meet. We just looked at each other across Toys R Us. But let's see. X-Men or Avengers? I've always been an X-Men guy. That's when I first got into when I first got into comics as a kid. Like comics kind of helped me start to learn to read because I would go to my grandma's house and they'd go to back when they had comics in the grocery store. She'd pick up some comics and I'd pore over them. And then when I was in middle school, it was junior high back then, again, because I'm very, very old. My best friend started hanging out at the local comic shop that was by kind of equidistant between our two houses. So I started hanging out with him and going to the comic shop after middle school, and so he really started getting me, which is junior high, started getting me into Marvel Comics, and that was, just a little before the original Secret Wars era and that sort of thing. So I moved from a DC guy all the way to a Marvel guy, stayed a Marvel guy through junior high and high school. Then my freshman year in college, right before I left, a buddy of mine said, take these with you, read them when you get some time, and then bring them back to me when you're done with them. And he loaned me the first 9 issues of Sandman that had come out, and the Grant Morrison Animal Man run. I think it was probably up to issue 16 or so, and that flipped me to be a DC guy again. So then I started picking up, like, going back and reading old Dr. Fate and all the old Alan Moore Swamp things. I did dabble in some DC along the way. Certainly, I picked up like the Dark Knight Returns when it first came out. I picked up the original issues of Watchmen monthly as those came out. So I wasn't 100% Marvel, but primarily. Thanks for the streaming. Have a good night. That's Raw Designer taking off. Good night, everyone. Cortez Mega says he's an X-Men guy, and Harv is still just laughing at me. Do you have any of the canceled DC Direct action figures? Do I have any DC Direct canceled figures? Trying to think. I don't think I have any canceled ones. I do have some prototype DC collectible stuff that did come out, but I don't think I've got anything from DC Direct that's canceled. I have other things that have been canceled that never came out, but don't think I've ever read Sandman, but I keep hearing about it. Yes, you should absolutely read that, and read it now before like the audio book comes out, and then is there a Netflix series that's coming? I know there's like a movie that they were working on, but it's really, really excellent. The thing I really dig about Neil Gaiman, he was kind of the first time I ever saw this, is, I think the main run of Sandman was like 75 issues, and they would break them up into these kind of arcs where they'd be like, I don't know, 6-issue stories, and there'd be kind of some other little stories sprinkled in between. But Neil would take something random, some background moment or character from a previous storyline, and then that would become like the whole next storyline. And I always thought that was really amazing. I hadn't ever really seen that done in comics before. Do I like the shirtless Aquaman? No! I do own some of the 90s hook hand Aquaman, but for my collection above, you can't see it if you're watching me on YouTube, but if you're on the Instagram feed, you can see them up here a little bit. It's all the classic costume. But yeah, I like Aquaman all along, but my collection up there is almost all the classic costume. I think there's a couple of shirtless ones in there, but not too many. So let's see, I'm at 55 minutes now for this, so I think I should wrap up because I've got some other stuff I need to post tonight. But thank you guys again for tuning in. I plan on doing this every night for Comic-Con, having a little miniature Comic-Con at home with you guys that are watching. So I'll do this again tomorrow and kind of wrap up the news that I saw, and I hope you will join me. I don't know exactly what time yet, but it's usually late because I'm a night owl. So. But yeah, check out all the stuff tomorrow that they're posting on Comic-Con at Home. Check out actionfigureinsider.com, or you can see us on all the socials, as they say. Yeah, I'll be posting news and stuff all day when I should be working and doing other things. Don't tell my boss. But yeah, thanks everyone for staying up late, and have a good Comic-Con at Home. I wish we were all together in a giant building, smelling each other's sweaty pits and things, and drooling over toys. So, all right, that's it. Good night.